Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are at day two on the Memory Bear. I know we're a little early, about 5 minutes early. It's okay. However, we're logging in just to make sure everything is set up. So we're going to make sure that the audio is up. I want to get the Facebook page. So I want to go ahead and check these things and get this started. So just bear with us as we're tinkering. You'll see me moving in and out of the camera, but we're here. Okay. And let me go ahead and get the Facebook. I think the audio is sounding good. Okay, here we go. And I can see the comments. Okay, yes, I can see and I can read. This is a one-man band. So was that a Lisa? Yeah, that's a Lisa in there. Okay, welcome. All right, so I look like I got that going.
That sounds great.
Sounds great. Okay, we're doing good. Uh-oh. Okay, so I'm back. All right, now. Okay, so audio's good, Facebook is good. So thank you for bearing with us and everything. So let's give everyone a few more minutes. We got about a good 3 or 4 minutes. But Tisha always got something to talk about. We got some upcoming programs that I'm so excited about. So let's talk about those and everything. And before we really get into the memory bear, because today we're sewing, if you have any questions, if you have any questions that you'd like for me to answer before we get into it, post those in the chat so I can check on them and see them, okay? All right, everything is looking good. I can see the cameras and I can see the chat. So wonderful. So post your questions if you have any questions about yesterday class or session. And let me share with you our two upcoming programs. Now, this weekend, I'm so excited because there's so much happening in the city. Not only the Commanders are playing on Sunday, but we have a sip and sew on Saturday. What a great way to start your weekend with a sewing program. Bring your friends, bring your mom, bring your sisters, whoever you like. Come all. We are making this beautiful kimono. You see, I'm rocking a beautiful kimono. I'm not sure. Cecily, you made this? Is this your
I
kimono?
did.
She gonna want this back, but I put this on. I'm like, oh, this feels good. I like this. It's really, really cute, and I love this print. I think I got something like this in my closet, but this is so cute. It's a short sleeve, which is really, really nice. So I'm hoping that I won't get too overheated tonight. But if you see me taking it off, you know why. But it's really, really nice. And it's a long, high, low hem, which I think is really, really cute. I'm a tall girl, so even if I stand up in the camera, you're not going to be able to see the length of it. But it is a full length kimono. So that is this Saturday. So guess what? Tisha love keywords because they make them it makes it so easy to register, right? So if you put in the chat sip and sew, and that's A-N-D when you want to spell out the and, sip and sew, that will give you the link to register for class this Saturday. Okay, so you don't want to wait on that too long. Okay, that is this weekend. Okay, I hope to see you. Now that's our sip and sew program to making a kimono, which I think is really cute. I feel like I need to be in this class. Tisha, you don't need to be in a class. You need to be teaching the class. But I really need to sit in on this one because I really like this kimono. But I hope to see you guys on Saturday. The other thing that we have coming up is a mini, mini, mini. I want to emphasize this as much as possible. We're having a Fabricolic mini weekend retreat. That's right, coming up in about roughly 4 weeks. And that is the weekend of Valentine's and President's Day weekend. So that retreat will start that Friday, Saturday, it's Sunday. Oh my God, 3 days of just nothing but sewing. Oh my, yes. 3 days of nothing but having a ball, just fellowshipping with your sisters and your brothers, whoever's here, and just sewing and quilting. So if you want to have a weekend and you want to have some time to yourself just to work, I have 2 quilts that I need to work on. I'm going to be there. That's right. Tisha gonna be there in person because I got some things to work on. The only time I get to sew is when we have a program. So I hope you come and join us. We got two amazing projects that you would love. I'm kind of excited about one of them because I've already started on it. But you know what? I'll share more with you tomorrow about that. Matter of fact, I'll probably bring in the garments tomorrow and show those off and talk about them. All right, with that being said, oh, it's officially 5 o'clock, and you know Tisha needs to get started. I love to start on time because there's so much that we're going to talk about today, working and making our memory teddy bear, which I think is so cute. One of the things we did yesterday, we talked about the planning, um, laying out the fabric, what fabric to use, your interfacing, labeling everything, which I find so important, especially the smaller the pieces, the more you need to label them, number them, mark them, snip them. And we talked about that a lot yesterday, okay? I'm going to go over some of the things that, some of the most important things that we did talk about yesterday, just in case you were not there. But you do want to go back and check that video, and it's on our Facebook page. So, questions before we even start. I just want to double check to make sure. So you'll find that I'm leaning over, and that's because I'm just checking the chat, making sure there's nothing in the chat and everything. But it sounds like everything is going. The weekend, okay, yes. I think Paula, you said the weekend, yes. Good afternoon, Tisha. What's up? Oh my God, I'm so proud of myself. Look here, I'm actually watching the chat. If I'm, you're perfect. All right, so it doesn't seem like we have any questions, but that's good. Okay, then. But if you think of any, I will be monitoring the chat. Okay. I think there was one of the. I think someone mentioned what weekend was that. Again, it is Valentine's and President's Day weekend, so it will be. It will start that Friday, which is Valentine's Day, which is that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The 17th is President's Day, but it's a good, nice travel day, especially for anyone that's coming out of town. At least you have that extra day. You don't feel like you have to rush to get back into the office on Monday. You still have President's Day because it is a federal holiday that you can use that day for traveling or just use another day just to stay back and sew. All right. All right. All right. So let's see who we have. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Felicia. Hello. From South Carolina. South Carolina in the house. I hope you all didn't get that snow. A lot of people in Texas, um, definitely New Orleans, and my sister in Tallahassee. They got a lot of snow too. She was showing it to me this morning. So I hope you didn't get a lot and you were able to manage. Hello, hello, hello. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about the memory teddy bear, which I love. One thing we did yesterday, we talked about different options of fabric. I gave some recommendations of some of the fabrics that we have in stock here, so definitely check those out. This is a teddy bear, so you want an African print that's on a small scale. Okay, you don't want to have anything that has a really large motif. So definitely check out that posting that we did yesterday. Okay, so we talked about different fabric options. On the front of the instruction sheet, the booklet, it does give you a pretty nice picture of what the teddy bear looks like and everything. If you tend to like that look, I highly recommend going with a fat quarter. You know, a fat quarter gives you about 18. Hi, we got a visitor in the house. She thinks she can sneak in here and not say anything to the people. Hi, we all gonna say, everyone say, hi, Rakisha. I haven't seen the staff in a minute, so it's like a little celebration around here. So again, like I was telling you guys, my husband was he was sick and everything, and so he had a major surgery. So I was out for a period of time. So but yesterday was really my first day back. So come on, Rakisha, over here and say hello to the people. She can come say hello. You look all cute, and look what she rocking.
Gotta be ready. Gotta represent.
Well, hello, Rakisha.
Hi, Tisha.
Hello. I miss you guys.
I miss you too.
I'm back.
Beautiful. I love this.
Oh, honey, yes. It was time to do something different with the hair. It was time.
I love it.
I was sick of dying. We'll talk later.
We'll
talk later. Yes. Okay. Enough chatting. We're going to get back to work. The memory teddy bear. So we cut out our pieces. Homework was cutting out the pieces. And Rakeisha, if you need to close that door, you can.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or
I
you need
might
to
get a little
push,
chatty.
you can push anything, anything.
No,
Okay.
that's a one man band. I think I can manage this.
All right. Go, Tisha.
Sorry about that, but it was just so good to see everyone. So we also cut out homework was to cut out all your pattern pieces. So I'm gonna go through all the pattern pieces. There were 14 pattern pieces, but there was two of them that you had to bring together and take to make one piece. Two that you need to make into one piece. So you roughly had about 13 pieces to cut out in total. So we'll go through that. We also talked about because these pieces are so small that we wanted to not only find where the notches are, because there's a lot of notches here, but we also wanted to know what the name of those pieces are. Their names, like the head, the nose, the arm, the upper arm, the back, things of that nature. We also talked about marking your pattern pieces as well. And so we did that yesterday as well. So today, what we're going to focus on is just the head, the teddy bear head, getting that together and everything. Um, I can't emphasize enough. If you're working with a fabric that is not cotton and that is a little stretchy or anything that's outside of cotton, I suggest interfacing. I even suggest interfacing the cotton as well. Unless it's like a really heavy African print, which you can definitely have that. Or if you have like a batik, batiks are really have a really tight wove to them. Um, they may be okay. You don't have to interface them. But I used one of our older prints, which was a black Valentine print that we had a couple of years ago. And I still had a piece of it. It was really cute. The motif was nice and small. So I used that print for class because this really was easy to see the front side and the back side of the fabric. So that when we start putting these little teeny tiny pieces together, it'll be really easy to see what is the front and the back, especially when you get over to the sewing machine. It's going to get really difficult to see what is what. And so I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for you. So with that being said, we're going to talk about the head and all of its pieces and everything, how to bring some of these pieces together. And one thing that I like about this pattern, not only in the instruction sheet, it tells you what to sew one, two, three, four, step by step. But what they did, they took it to a whole nother level. They actually, each seam, each area that you needed to sew, they put a alphabet to it, literally. So you'll be sewing from your alphabets. So you'll find A, you'll sew that. You'll find B, sew that. C, D, and I kind of like that. So it really helps you to stay knowing you feel confident knowing that you're following the instructions because you're following the alphabets as well, which I thought was really, really cool. And I'm going to talk about that when we look at the pattern pieces. Anything else? Yes, there's one other thing because we're talking about the head, right? This pattern requires if you're using this for a small child, this is really important because children choke off of toys all the time. So you really want to be careful. In Joann's or any other fabric store, most fabric stores or craft stores will have something that will have these eyes and nose that are meant for animals, for sewing and everything. I'm going to take a picture and see if I can post that and everything. But I'll put these on a cutting table. I've happened to find that I had a few of them and everything. But you can buy these in the store. And these are, you screw them on. You put a hole into the fabric and you literally screw them on. So if you're planning on gifting this as a child, the buttons may not be the best thing because a child can kind of work these over a period of time, get loose enough, and actually chew them off and swallow the button. Whereas these are much more child-proof, and I highly recommend them. Um, but yeah, they're really cool, and they have the eyes and the nose. These are really nice. However, for me today, my teddy bear is not for a child, so I'll be using black buttons. So I have some nice size black buttons. They're about the size of the eyes that we have here. They give you the recommended size anyway on the back of your pattern in your instruction sheet. So I'll be using black buttons, and I will be showing you how to sew those on just by using your simple embroidery or your simple thread, either or. All right. Anything else that we need to chat about before we get started? No. All right. I think we need to go ahead and jump to the cutting table, and let's go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna check in on a Facebook group as well. Okay. Okay, that was great. I used them. Okay, what? Okay, Khadijah, you used these before. Great. Khadijah was saying that she used these little eyes, these little things, which I think is really helpful for when she made her a memory elephant, which I think is so cute. Okay, cool. All right. So now that you all know that you can get these, you can again at your local fabric store or even Amazon. Try Amazon, but they are much more childproof. Okay, want to take care of the little people without a doubt. All right. So tonight I brought over some more other tools that I'll be using tonight. I will be using my chopstick. Um, Now, I have metal chopsticks because I use chopsticks all the time. I love the metal ones, but they're great. I'll also be using a stiletto for my when I'm sewing because these seams are a quarter inch. They're really small, and trying to ease in everything can be difficult without one. So you'll see me using this at the sewing machine. And I have my Sharpie, okay? I have my Sharpie. So we'll be using that to make some marks, anything that we need on the fabric. All right, so let's bring over our pattern pieces. Let's just do a check-in on our pattern pieces, okay? So here are all my pieces, and I'm gonna go through them, and I'm gonna save the head of the bear for last, okay? So my very first one here that I have, this is the back. And I recommended yesterday, pull out your highlighters, highlight the name of it so it's really easy for you to see because there's a lot of words on the pattern pieces. My eyes can quickly go to that and know that it's the back. I've also highlighted the notches in a different color. This is extremely important. Yesterday I talked about this because you want to make sure that you cut these notches, but when you cut them, make sure you're only using a your snippers. I think I bought some snippers over here. Yes, use your snippers, and you only want to snitch into the stitch area. Don't snip all the way in where the marking is. You only need a small snip, just a marking. Once you snipped it, you also going to highlight it on the pattern on your fabric as well, all your pieces. And so we did that for each piece. I also recommended that if you were making your when you're cutting out your pattern pieces, that if you wanted to, I highly recommend writing the name at the bottom. So this is the back, and so on the back of my fabric, this is the right side, this is the wrong side. It's been interfaced. I wrote the word back. Okay. And I've done that for all my pieces. Another thing that I did, and I did not mention this yesterday, is that I went ahead and named, well, I used the alphabets that they had in each corner. So in for this piece, if you're looking at the back, it has a lot of letters going on here. You see that? G, L, Z, K, X, W, U, S, N, O. I want to make sure that I'm putting these in the right corners for each of these areas. So all I'm doing is just duplicating what's on the pattern onto the fabric. My fabric should be a mirror of my pattern piece. It's the back, G, L, Z, K, X, W, U, S, N, and O. That is written onto the back of my pattern piece. And yes, I did that for not only the front side, but the back side as well. So that when it is time to sew, I don't have to second guess where I'm going. I don't have to pull out the pattern. It's going to make it really easy for me. I can't say this enough, but the most important thing when it comes to sewing is planning. You got a good roadmap, you're going to get to your destination. So this is planning out your project well. Write everything down, fill in all the notches, all the notations as much as possible. And I can't say this enough. The smaller the project, the more notations you'll need. Okay? Because everything starts looking the same really quickly. All right, so that is my back piece. Let's look at another one. This is the outer leg. Okay, I've highlighted, but there's no notches. Now all of the pattern pieces have notches. Again, if you look at here, again, everything that's in the corner that has an alphabet to it, I put it onto my fabric. Outer leg, this is P, O, N, and R. And I did that for both sides. Okay. So that is the outer leg. This is the inner leg. This is the outer arm, the inner arm, the tummy. The tummy is the piece that came in two pieces. It didn't fit on the paper. So you had to join the bottom piece to the tummy. So this is the tummy of the teddy bear. Okay. Now that we've done those, I'm going to set those aside. Let's talk about our contrasting pieces. So we had the foot pad, okay, and we had the ear. Now, yesterday I had this gray fabric, I had a gray and a black fabric. And the more I started working with my teddy bear, I was like, I think I really want that red to pop, you know? So I changed my fabric, okay? I did change it. All right, so I'm gonna keep my ear here on the cutting mat because this is part of the head. So I have my ears here. I have my two pieces for the back. So I have the back of the head and the side of the head. Now, again, you have notches here and you have alphabets on each of the corners, most of the corners anyway. I've already documented that on my fabric and I also highlighted where the notches are, okay? So here I have a notch here and I highlighted that in the pink. My notch is right there and it's on both sides. So that's the back of the head and the side of the head. I'll set those there. And then we have the nose. Now the nose is the last thing. So I know that's on the face, but it's one of the last things that we do. So we're not going to work on that right now. So I am going to set that aside with the rest of the other pattern pieces. However, my other two pieces is the forehead, which is the front, and the face. These two are important. We're going to start with this. And if you look closely, you'll notice that, hey, it actually starts with an A, B, C. A and C. So these are your two pieces that you're going to start off with. So I'm going to set the back of the head in the corner because we're going to come back to those later. Okay. So these are the first two pieces that we're going to start with. And I'm going to stick with the face because that is my A piece and my B piece. Okay. Now on your face piece, you'll notice that you have notches here. Make sure you have marked those notches, and I have. You want to make sure you have written the name of your piece, which is the face, and I have the alphabets on the pattern piece, each of them, which is really, really nice. So you also have the marking for the eye. So this circle here, I'm gonna highlight this one in a different color. This is my purple. The eye is right here. That is the eye for the teddy bear. Now you can really see them. Once you find the eye, you're like, oh, now I get it. There's the nose. This must be the front. Almost look like a doggy's head without his ears. And this is the top of his head. That is correct. So this is the eye. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is because you need to mark the eye onto the fabric. So for me, I've placed a little dot there, and that's where my eye is. And you want to do that for both sides. All right. All right, I'm just going to check and see if we have any questions. Oh, okay, everyone is just watching. Okay, very good. Now, did everyone do their homework? Did everyone cut out? All right, so in your instruction sheets, we want to go to the instruction sheet at this point. And what I love about this is that you can, in the instruction sheet, for each instruction or technique or tip, there's a little checkbox that you can check them off. So she gives you a lot of tips and techniques to use in making this bear. So we're going to start on page 4, exactly where the head is, because we've talked about everything else. So it says, sew the front pieces together from A through B. And that's literally my A through B. Oh, okay. That's what we're doing? Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. So I'm going to take some pins and I'm just going to pin these two together. Okay. So from here, we want to take this to the sewing machine and sew this up. Now, when we get over to the sewing machine, before we get over to the sewing machine, there are some other things that I've done as well. I've changed my foot on my sewing machine to a 1/4 inch. Remember, the seams for this teddy bear is a 1/4 inch, not 1/2 inch, not 5/8. It's really tiny. Tracy, you did yours before. Oh, you ahead. I should have had you teach the class. Tracy did hers. Wonderful. So now I changed, like I said, I changed my foot to a 1/4 foot. Okay. And I dropped my stitches on my sewing machine. Remember, this is a really small project. The smaller the project, the smaller the stitches. So I dropped my stitches to a 1.5 or 1.8. All right. So I think we're ready to sew. We're going to do a little sewing today. Okay. And let's jump over to the sewing machine. All right, so here we are at the sewing machine, and as you can see, again, I have a 1/4 inch foot on, okay? And I've also adjusted the length of my stitches. So I am going to sew literally from the bottom all the way up. Beautiful. All right, that looks good. Now I want to open it up, and it should look just like this, okay? All right, so let's meet back over at the cutting table and let's chat about our next piece, our cutting table. All right, so now we're back at the cutting table, and this is what our piece, this is the first piece we just sewn, and this is the face, and it had us to sew from A to B, and it looks just like this once you open it up. Now, with your seams, because this is such a small project, I recommend opening the seams, okay? If you're going to be adding a piece to anything, open the seams, okay? That will reduce some of the bulk. So I'm just going to put a pin here so that the seams stay open, okay? Our next step is to pin the forehead piece. This is our next piece. We just finished that one, so we can set that to the side. our forehead piece matching point A. Ah, so here is my point A. That means this point needs to go to this point here. Oh, now I can see where it's going. All right, so let's go ahead and take. They're stuck together. There we go. And now I know by looking at my pattern piece, my fabric, because I wrote everything on it, I can see where my notch is. I can see this is my forehead. I can see all my notches. I'm missing one right here. Oh, there we go. Let me go ahead and mark that one. So if you miss anything, just go back and fill it in. And there's my A point. So A to A, because that's where my A is on here. If I open this back up, there's my A. So A to A. So I need to bring these two together. So that knot should sit literally right on that seam. So I'm pinning everything in place. Now, another thing about small projects, you may find that you need a lot of pins. Yes, indeedy, you will. For example, here is my sample piece. I'm not going to pin it here, but here's my sample piece. I have literally pinned the face to the forehead, as you can see, and it's going to look like this. Look, Tisha, I've never seen you use so many pins ever. And that's because of the curviness of the forehead. One way is going this way, one way is going the opposite direction. And so this will drive you crazy if you don't pin it well. So the goal is to make sure that you keep the ends together. So how do you do that? Since I've matched the A points together, I know that the ends need to come together. So this end comes here, just like so. I want to put a pin in it. And everything else in between need to match up. You'll notice in between this destination and this destination, west to east, there are two notches that need to come together and they should match. Oh, yeah. So you're not guessing. Once you have divided that area, now you can come back and pin this area. And then you can come back and turn and pin this area. So you're working in really small increments. So let me turn it back that way and let's pin it in place. And I'm just going to pin this one side because I've already pinned it here. And we're going to take this sample over to the sewing machine and sew it up, okay? And now that I have that quarter done, let's go ahead and do it on this side. I'm just going to check. Hi, Paulette. Hello, Greta. You haven't received your pattern yet? Will this be on? Yes, Julie. Yes, this will be on Facebook, so you can definitely find it. So you can still order your pattern if you need it, okay? Or if you're still waiting for it, okay? So yeah, it will be on Facebook. I think it'll be on Facebook. I think we have it on Facebook, Instagram, and I believe Ceci said our YouTube channel. We're trying to build that up. So yes, you will be able to find this again. Good, Greta, my son and sister. Yes, indeedy. I miss you. I'm still dreaming South Africa. Oh, we had a good time. A really good time. And as you can see, I'm still pinning just this one side, because I want to pin this really, really well. I don't want to get to the sewing machine and have to guess at what I'm doing. That's not when you want to start putting things together. All right. And I think that's holding up really well. And again, that's only half of that forehead. Here's the other half of the forehead as well. All right, so now that we have that in place, let's take this sample over and let's start sewing it, because this is the forehead here. I've already pinned both sides, okay? All right, so let's meet over at the sewing machine and let's start sewing. All right, so I'm back at the sewing machine, and again, 1/4 inch foot. My stitches are still at a 1.8 or 1.5, whatever setting you prefer, but you want a smaller stitch. And I want to go ahead and get this started. May have to take out that first pin. These pieces are so small, so you may not be able to see all of the detail on like a garment, but I hope you're able to follow along. I'm going to try to keep this as neatly as possible so you can see everything. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and start sewing. Ah, I can already feel it. I need my little stiletto here. There we go. And this helps me keep everything in place, especially when it starts shifting and I take the pins out. Beautiful. Now, another thing that I'm doing when I'm holding everything in place, I'm double checking. You may not be able to see this, but underneath, I'm using my thumb to just double check to make sure that there's nothing folding. And I'm waiting till, because these areas are so small, these curves are really tiny. I'm waiting till the pins get really, really close. But this is a slow sew. This is nothing something you want to zoom through really, really fast. You really want to take your time. Okay. And now I'm coming to the nose of my memory teddy bear. And he's looking good. Making sure he's nice and flat. That seam is open. Take your time. Now I'm coming over to the other side. And we made it. And it looked like I got a little fold under there, but I just want to double check. I think I caught it in time. Beautiful. All right, let's bring that up. And let's double check that. Oh, yeah, I caught it just in time. Nice, nice, nice. Ah, that looks really, really good. All right, so let's meet over back at the cutting table and let's chat about our next step. But yeah, let's chat about our next step and we'll move on. All right, over at the cutting table. All right, so here we are at the cutting table, and we just finished sewing in the forehead to the face. And this looks really, really good. Now, there's some curviness to this in this area, and you'll know it because your fabric is bulking, it's puckering, it's doing all kinds of things. Anytime you have a curve area, you want to snip into it, okay? That's going to help the fabric relax, and that gives you the option to shape and mold the fabric to the item that you want it to be, which is why this bear is so defined. Okay, small seams and it's been snipped into. So this area, I do want to snip into it, but I want to use my snippers, and I want to be very careful not to go past my what stitch line. We do not want to go past our stitch line. Beautiful. Now your instructions may not say this, but anytime you see a curved area, no matter what you're working on, you want to snip into that. Okay, and I'm just being very careful not to snip past my stitch line. And I'm just a snippet and a snippet. Okay, that looks really, really good. All right, so let's come back and check in on our instruction sheet. Okay. So the next thing after that, it tells us to fold and pin the fabric pieces to the fabric right sides together. Now, that's this piece here. And let's pull out your instruction sheet right here. I'm sorry, your pattern piece. So what they're telling you right here, there is a dart. And they want you to bring these two pieces together, right side to right side, so you can sew up that dart. So if you've done a skirt before or something like a gusset, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So clean up here. My darts are right here. Okay. So let's go ahead and put these together and we're going to sew up those darts. So I'm going to put a pin here to sew that up and then do the same thing on the other side. And this is where the chin is, like you're tucking in the teddy bear's chin, giving him a chin lift, okay? Defining his chin. And so we'll take this over to the sewing machine and sew this up as well. So let's meet back over at the sewing machine. All right, so let's go ahead and sew up those darts. Beautiful, that looks really good. And I'm going to go ahead and clean that up a little bit more so that's less cleaning up I have to do. And let's do the other side as well. Uh-oh, I think I lost my thread. I sure did. I didn't pull out enough. All right, bear with me while I thread my machine. Okay, we got that threaded back on. And let's go back to that dart, that second one that we have here. Nice. Clean that up. All right, so here's one dart here. Let me see that in the camera. Let's see. There we go. Yep, there's one there. And the other one is on the other side. So you should have two of them. And now you can see both of them, one here and one is here. Okay. I'm hoping that shows up. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's meet back over at the cutting table. All right, so we're back at the cutting table and let's flip this to the right side. I want to see what we got. Oh, I can see the teddy bear's face, his nose. Well, that's so cute. His nose is going to be right here, right there. This is his forehead, so this is where the front of his head, the side here, and his chin. All right. So the next thing it talks about is the eyes, okay? Inserting the eyes. So remember, on my fabric, I marked where the eyes are. So they're so small. I'm going to make them a little big so you can see them. Okay. And here's another one right here. Again, and that marking is from right here. This is the eye on the pattern piece. Again, you want to make sure you mark that area on your fabric because now it's telling me to go ahead and insert the eyes. Now, I talked about the eyes earlier. If this is for a child, you want to make sure you're purchasing child-proof hardware, okay, because these screw on and they're much more sturdier. You don't want to trust a button because little people they chew on everything, and you do not want them to swallow a button. Okay, they swallow a lot of things. Now, since I have this on, have marked this, I just want to find out where that is on my fabric. And so here's one area right here, and all I did was just put a pin in it. Now, if you're going to be sewing a button onto yours, here's your chance. So what I'm going to do is just use a nice large needle that has a large eye, okay? I'm going to use something really, really bright so we can see it. I'm just doing this for the camera's sake. But I highly recommend if you're going to use thread, use something really heavy. What are heavy threads? Do anybody know any heavy threads out there? I want to know if you know any heavy threads. You really like the fabric choice? I'm glad you like it. I wish I had more of it. Well, one good thread that you can use is what we call embroidery floss. This kind of stuff here. Our quilters have been using this for quite some time. We've used this in several of the programs. If you attended any of our conferences, we've used it. So floss thread is great. Embroidery, hand embroidery, this is great. You can also use silk threads. Silk threads tend to be very, very strong. You could also use something called upholstery thread. Upholstery thread is really thick and strong. And there's something called buttonhole thread, which is even heavier thread as well. So those are just some three that sit out on top of my head. So if you didn't have anything in hand, you can use those as alternatives. Okay. So what I've done is place the knot. I threaded my needle, two threads, because I want it really thick and I want it really strong. I put two knots at the end. Okay. If I really wanted to go for another one, you could. You can put three on there so you know it's not going anywhere. I want to place the knot to the back of the fabric. Okay, so it's in the back. So I'm coming from the wrong side, right there where the marking is. And we pretty much all know how to sew on a button, but I don't want to assume that because we may have some beginners here that never sewn on a button. Okay, so we want to give them the opportunity to see this. So whenever you're sewing on buttons, I prefer to sew them on hand. However, there are sewing machines that will sew the buttons on for you. You need a button foot. Yeah, there's something called a button foot. Not the buttonhole, a button foot. Literally will sew your buttons on and it will just go from left to right, left to right. So if you're going to sew on a button and you want to use your sewing machine, you want to look for a buttonhole that doesn't have a shank. Remember, a shank is something that sits on top of the button, actually underneath the button. They're used for coats. You want a flat button for something like this. You don't want the button sitting, your eyes or your button sitting out. Gives the child another reason to chew on it if they see it sitting out. So you want this button to sit really flush against the fabric, as closely to the fabric as much as possible. So you don't need something that has four holes. Something with two holes is perfect. And this is one that has two holes. So this is really good. So I'm coming up through the first hole and it's going to land right in place. And then I'm going back down into the second hole and making sure I'm coming somewhere close near that area, not in the same location, but near it. Okay. And so that's it. It is in place. I would want to do this. Remember, there's two layers here of threading, and each strand has 8 strands of thread. That's a lot of thread. So yeah, you don't have to go through this that many times. I recommend 3 to 4 times, and I think you're good. Knot it off, and you're good. So that's my second passing. This is my third passing. Nice. And that feels really good. It feels good. It feels full. It's not sitting too far out. It's sitting nice and flush against the button. And so that's what I'm just checking for. It's nice and snug. There's no gapping or lapse between either side. So I'm just checking it both on both sides. And it's looking really good. Now I like this. Nice. So now I'm ready to put a knot on this. So for me, I want the knot to go towards the fabric, not sitting somewhere along the thread of my along my needle here. So I'm gonna bring it really close, make a loop, bring my needle through that opening, and I'm pushing the knot. You see, I'm controlling the knot. I'm forcing it to go that way, closer to that point. And right in where my fingers is, I'm keeping it, trying to keep it flush right against the fabric as much as possible. Bingo, I did it. That feels good. And again, now that I knotted it once, I want to knot it again. Again, forcing that knot towards the fabric as much as possible. And again, if you feel like a third time is a charm, go for it. Now, I find that if you're working with, especially any toys, sometimes they'll even put a dab of glue on here. Now, if you're going to be using a dab of glue, again, I want you to remind yourself who this teddy bear is for. Is it for a child? Is the glue safe to use for children to use? Remember, children put everything in the mouth, so you don't want anything toxic. So if you do use a glue, you want to use something that is not toxic, okay? But sometimes people do put glue on there just to hold it in place. And if not, you can always use Fray Check. Fray Check helps prevent this from fraying as well. Remember, that was one of the things I talked about having earlier, yesterday, having some Fray Check on hand. Okay. So now that we've sewn one button on, you're going to do that for both sides, but I'm not going to bore you with that. But oh my, his little eyes look cute. They're fading into the fabric, which is okay. Because I was trying to make a decision about this yesterday. I had some really cute red buttons, but I was thinking, oh, that would make him look scary. And I don't want my bear to look scary. So I'm okay with that. Now, if I had some white buttons or maybe some gray buttons, that might have looked nice. It may have given it a little pop. But that's why I didn't mind having the color thread there. So I kind of like that. So you will sew both of your buttons on. At this point, while you have access to the back of the face, this is where you want to do all the accessorizing. Okay, everything here. Okay. Another thing I want to point out to you is that when I talked about fabric yesterday. Oh, let me check the chat. See, I get so chatty, I forget to check the chat. Okay, it looks like everyone is having a good time. Okay. Okay, well, I don't have a short thing. Okay, wonderful. Okay, wonderful. Uh, your fabric. Now, this is a good time to check in on your fabric to see if it's fraying. Now, if you find that that 1/4 inch, and once you snipped into it, your fabric is fraying like crazy, this is a time to fray check those raw edges, all of them. Because you're constantly turning this piece in and out, flip in and inside out, doing all kinds of things to it. And it's going to get worn out really fast. And I can tell mine's is starting to fray as well. But I think I might be okay, but we're going to see because I can see it's just fraying. It's really, really fraying. So if you find that you're having that, use your fray check. All right, so we talked about the eyes, the front of the head, which looks really, really nice. Now it is time for us to move on to the earpiece, okay? So in your instructions piece, it says, sew the earpieces together in pairs, leaving the straight edge open. So let's bring over the ears. And so here I have my earpiece, okay? And so I have both of them. Now, before I talk about them, again, you should have mark your notches before you remove your pattern piece because this is extremely important. I have marked my notches. That looks good. I like that. And I have my pair here. And as you can see, I've already sewn one. And there's another notch at the top. I missed that. And you'll find that you're going to miss your notches, but try to just put them in there when you see them. Again, using a 1/4 inch, you want to sew around the ear of the teddy bear. Remember, it says leave the straight edge open, so you're not going to sew that part. Now, before you even turn it, once you've sewn it, we need to clip those edges. Sorry about that. And so here I have my notches, and I need to snip. So as you can see, I've snipped my teddy bear ears quite a bit. Is that showing up? It's not showing up. Oh yeah, it shows up on the instruction sheets. That entire curve had been notched into. So let's go ahead and do that now for our second ear. All right, so here we are with my snippers, notching the ear, my second ear. And I'm just going all the way around, taking my time. Good time to see chat. All right, and it seems like everyone is doing good out there. All right, so I'm off onto the other side. And let's get 2 more in there, just 2 more. All right, that looks good. You're gonna make a lot of little messes. So have a basket nearby. All right, so now they tell us to turn the ears from the wrong side to the right side. And that's why I have my handy dandy favorite tool, my chopstick. So let's turn these inside out. Let's put these away. Open them up and turn them inside out. Beautiful. Look at that. That's a pretty ear. Let's do the same for the second one. Now, one thing that said, do not stuff the ears. The ears do not get stuffed. Okay, so do not stuff the ears. Okay. Now you would give a nice good press and your ears are ready. Okay, your ears are ready. So now it tells us to pin the ears to the face pieces. Okay, and that which we just finished. Our face piece is right here. All right, so here's my head, and here's the side of this head here. You'll notice that on your pattern piece, there's another notch. This one is already closed. You see your eye? We've already closed that one. So the only one, and you'll see, ear position. Place your ear here. So you should match up your ear to this area. It shouldn't go beyond that notch. So let's find that notch. Ah, there's that notch. So my ear should sit right in here. Yep. Let's put a pin in there. Let's gather some pins. So that area for here is here. We'll put a pin there. And again, that area on the other side is on here. I can see my little notches. They're working for me. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, so I'm going to put one ear here. Now, when you put your ears in, make sure you're tucking them as though they're going inside, the right side of your ear to the right side of your fabric. Beautiful. And that sits right there. So for now, I'm just going to pin this in place. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other ear. Okay. Oh, let's flush that out a little bit more. There we go. And right side to right side. That looks nice. Look at there. All right, that's looking really, really good. All right, that looks really nice. All right, so now my ears are in place. Yes. So the next thing it talks about is sew the side head pieces to the back head pieces from D to E. So now we're back to those letters again, okay? We've already did A and B, we did C. Now we're going from C to D and E. So let's pull out those pieces. I'm going to put a little clean up here. Oh my God, it's that time. All right, we're getting close to that time, and it's okay. So for now, it says my side head and my back head. I only need one of these pieces, okay? Only one. So here's my piece here. And again, it mirrors my pattern, D, C, back head, E, K, E. And here's my side head. Now it says I should have two of these. Remember, we talked about this yesterday. You should have a right side and a left side. And I do have that. So I have two pieces and they are marked as well. And as you can see, it has a D and an E. Okay, so that's what we need to be sewing, D to E. So if you look at your pattern piece, D and E, D and E, these two sides go together. And then these two sides go together. Same thing here. So I know this goes to this side and this one goes to this side. D, D, E, and E. And so we want to pin those up together. Okay. Now I have pinned this up already. And so I want to show you what I did to get this nice curve, because when you look at this, you want to freak out like, how am I going to get this curve into this straight line? You can do it. I know you can do it. You can do this. What I do is I tend to let me just put these pieces to the side. What I do is bring the two D's together, make sure they match up in the corner. They're perfectly in place. They're in line. They're sitting on top of each other. Yes. Pin it really well. Then go down to your to your E, and bring those two corners together, matching up wonderfully. Nice. Pin it well. Now, find the middle between these two areas. Whatever the middle between these two pins, find the middle. Now, you may need to shift this pin once or twice, but what you're checking for, how is that ease going to fit in here? And if you notice, I am doing a little taunting, meaning slight pull, to see when I pull on the fabric, will it sit in there? And it does. It looks like a duck or a frog mouth to nothing. I want to do that for both sides, and that looks pretty good. So now I'm ready to pin that in place. But if you have to shift, this is a good time to do that. So you want to make sure you have a good balance on each side before you commit to pinning the entire piece. So you always want to check the ease. And so I've already done this earlier. And so let's check out the piece that I done earlier. And here it is right here. Uh-oh. And here it is, already pinned together. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, and once it's pinned, it's time for me to sew this in the same manner that I did for the front. Okay. Now, as soon as I finish sewing this, it's going to tell me to sew up those darts. So remember, on your front piece, you had the darts at the chin. These are the darts like the back of the neck. Okay. So you want to go ahead and pin that as well and sew that up. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and pin that up and pin the other side. So for homework, I want to have some news for you guys. I thought we were going to have 3 days. We're actually going to have this for 4 days. So I'm going to see you not only on Thursday, but I will see you on Friday as well. So you don't have to rush. You can take your time. Baby steps. The best way to eat an elephant, baby steps, one bite at a time. So just focus on the head tonight and sew that up. Get everything laid out, labeled, cut, and work on your head. And that way you're ready for class on tomorrow. So for homework for me, I'm going to go ahead and sew this up and everything, sew up the sides. And then once you have everything together, it's going to tell us to put the fronts and the backs together, just like so. So when we come back and meet up tomorrow, I'll have these two together like so and a nice complete head in place. And we'll move on to the body and the legs tomorrow. I hope you had a wonderful time. Let's meet back over at the headshot and let's chit chat before you leave today. But I hope everyone had a wonderful time today. Like I said, it was good to see everyone. I miss everyone so much. I miss the staff. I miss the instructors. I miss you guys. So I'm so happy to be back. My schedule is going to be a little crazy because husband is still going. Got to still uh, keep up with the doctor's visits. He's slowly coming back to a normal schedule. So he's been having a he was just so excited to get back to work. So he is just doing part time for right now, and but he's having a good time. So half a day is for him, but at least he gets to go back into the office and everything. So just bear with me in my schedule. I do apologize for the change in the schedule, but I'm so thankful that you all were able to adjust your schedule and was able to come in and visit us and see what we're doing with our memory teddy bear. Like I said, our two programs that are coming back Saturday, you don't have much time. Saturday is our sip and sew, and we're making this beautiful kimono. I love this fabric. I think we still have this fabric because I'm getting ready to go back there and get me a piece. So you better grab it now. So if you put into the chat sip and sew, you got to spell out the and, A-N-D, sip and sew. It should bring you up the link so you can register. Okay. So I'm hoping to see you on Saturday. All right. And then in a couple of weeks, and the reason why I'm pushing this now, I want to get this information out because in a week, next week, I want to start talking to the people who are coming because guess what? We got some great projects. I want to talk to you. It is going to be a small group. This is when I say no more than 15, no, I think it's no more than 12. Especially is it 12? So we got limited seatings. There's not a lot of seats left. But I want to start talking to whoever's going to register to come on out because I want to start chatting with you guys because it makes it so much personal when I can do that. And I want to start chatting with you guys about some of your projects, what I want you to prepare for, because oh my God, there's one project that I really want to do. So Tisha, tell us about the retreat. So again, it's called the Fabraholic Mini Weekend Retreat. And that is the weekend of Valentine's Day and President's Day. We are off. The federal government is closed on President's Day that Monday. So it makes that weekend a little extended. So we'll kick off and start on Friday, go from Friday to Saturday to Sunday, and maybe have a little bit of fun on that Monday. At least it gives you some time to travel back home and everything for those who are coming out of state. So don't forget to do that. Now, again, if you put in the chat, the keyword is weekend, that should come up and you can quickly register. So you want to do that this week so you don't miss what Tisha got for you next week, okay? With that being said, oh, before you leave, I gotta check the chat, just making sure. Please check your inbox for registration. Oh, okay, thank you. I think Cecily did that for me. Thank you. Yes, 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 yes. All right, with that being said, I'll see you on Saturday. Okay, Jennifer, I'll see you on Saturday. I think I'm gonna see you on Saturday. I'm gonna make this. All right, everyone, you all have a wonderful I'm sorry, it's Wednesday. Whew. And I will see you guys Thursday tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I believe we're starting at 1. Yes, just it's in your email. It's in your email. So I will see you guys tomorrow. And again, we'll pick up where we left off from the head, and we'll start with the body and the legs. So I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Bye bye. All right. So it's going to take me a minute to turn everything off. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.